When I think about battle shonen that stand out to me, one that always comes to mind is Magi. Magi was a manga series written and illustrated by Shinobu Ohtaka. The series got 2 seasons and a spin-off prequel show. However, as time has passed, the lack of a 3rd season and the manga ending have both caused the series to slowly be discussed less and less as time passes. Let's change that with this video. I remember after I finished watching both seasons of the anime, I immediately wanted to know what happened next, so I started reading and collecting the manga. When I started collecting the manga volumes, I noticed that the series has some of the most colorful and beautiful manga covers that I've seen. For anyone wondering, the anime ends at chapter 198, and it actually didn't adapt most of the first chapter as well. So I highly recommend reading the manga because the stuff that happens after the anime's ending is amazing. It's still sad though that we'll probably never get a 3rd season, because there were some amazing moments and fights that I'd love to see get animated. What I think initially drew me into the series was this scene. In all seriousness, it was actually the concept of the dungeons. I thought that the dungeons were a unique way for Shinobu Ohtaka to explain and expand the world that she had created. She was able to use the dungeons as a way to introduce the Jin, the metal vessels, and the power system in the series. Magi's power system is probably one of the more unique ways I've seen life energy used in a battle shonen. We've seen many other battle shonen use the idea of life energy being behind the powers in the world. So while Magoi in Magi wasn't a new concept, the application of it was what made it interesting. We could see that the Rook was what was behind the world's phenomena in Magi. And I think that Baba perfectly explained this early on in the story. Rook is the home of the souls. While we live, it is every man for themselves. But when you die, all go back to one place. This is Rook. When humans die, their bodies return to the earth, don't they? The souls return to Rook, the home of souls. The power system of Magoi gave us some of the coolest uses of magic that I've seen in any anime. Normal humans were able to activate Magoi through Magoi manipulation, or through the use of metal vessels, household vessels, and magic tools. And magicians were able to call forth the Rook and ask it to do specific commands that they gave it. A combination of all of these uses is what gave us some of the coolest fights in anime. While the fights in Magi weren't the best thing you'll ever see, they definitely had their own unique flair to them. I think they had just the right combination of tactics and shonen power-ups, without falling into the trap of escalation that we've seen time and time again with many other shonen over the years. Also, I'm kinda going to fanboy, but Jin equips were some of the coolest transformations that I've seen in any battle shonen anime. But at the same time, it was also great to see that the metal vessel users weren't the only characters capable of being powerful in the Magiverse. We saw that this was the case in the arc where Aladdin goes to Hogwarts, which unironically ended up being one of the best arcs in the entire series, while also giving us one of the coolest fight entrances in anime. Did you guys really think I would forget about Sinbad? I knew I couldn't make a video about Magi without talking about him. Sinbad is one of my favorite characters from any anime or manga, and the one that seems to be the fan favorite for a lot of Magi fans, for good reason. There are a lot of reasons for why he is such a likable character. To start, he was voiced by Daisuke Ono. You've probably heard his voice in some other anime that you've watched. This dude has voiced some legendary characters. Sinbad's English dub voice actor, Matthew Mercer, was pretty great in the role as well. I remember when Sinbad was first introduced, I thought, man, who is this clown? Should I call the police? Little did I know, I was looking at Sinbad, King of Sindria, leader of the Seven Seas Alliance. I mean, just look at this man.
Drip too hard, don't stand too close, you gon' fuck around and drown off this way.
I don't want to say that he carried the series, because a lot of the other characters were very interesting and entertaining as well. But at times, he definitely elevated the quality of the story. He was always scheming in the background, preparing his next move, not letting anyone know what his true intentions were, which we would only find out much later in the manga. Also, about the adventures of Sinbad. I don't think that you have to read or watch it, but some of the later events in the main Magi manga make much more sense if you have the prior knowledge of Sinbad's past. I think it'll give you a better understanding of his intentions and actions, and why they were the way they were as the story progressed. While Sinbad was the character that stands out the most in Magi, in my opinion, I do still think that the main cast of Aladdin, Alibaba, and Morgiana were very likable as well. The interactions between them led to a lot of funny and memorable moments. And even when they weren't together, they showed a great amount of growth. Like when they knew they all had to separate and go on their own journeys in order to achieve the goals that they had set for themselves. Aladdin had to go to the magic country known as Magno Shutat in order to develop his magic abilities. Morgiana left to venture to the Dark Continent in order to see the Finalese homeland. And Alibaba, well, he...
武者修行のため、霊夢の大帝都までやってきた剣士だ。だが訳あって今は こんな姿になり果てている。
I think that Shinobu Ohtaka was able to show us that the characters weren't one-dimensional. They grew when they were faced with adversity and prejudices, such as classism and racism, even if it wasn't directly aimed at them. It did affect others around them that they cared about, and they couldn't stand idly by and watch it happen. Also, I know I didn't really mention them in this video, but these two dudes became pretty legendary later on in the manga. I just don't want to spoil the reasons as to why, for those that haven't read the manga yet. For anyone interested, Shinobu Ohtaka currently has a new ongoing manga called Orient. It had an anime announced earlier this year, although there isn't a release date yet. Well everyone, thank you for taking a look back at one of my favorite series with me. While Magi may not be perfect, I think that it has a lot of unique qualities and good things going for it. And while it may be over, let's never forget about it. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please smash the like button and subscribe with notifications on so you're notified when I post new content. Thank you all for watching, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day.